Tomorrow, Queen Elizabeth will say farewell to her husband of more than 70 years, Prince Philip. Of course, due to COVID restrictions, the service is expected to be much smaller than the ones we've seen in the past. ABC's James Longman has the latest details on the funeral from London.
A nation and a queen prepares to say goodbye. Tonight, the palace releasing this never-before-seen picture of Queen Elizabeth and her prince, the Duke of Edinburgh. And we're learning more about tomorrow's funeral. The Queen will pause in her car for a moment of reflection as she passes the coffin of her beloved husband. Prince Charles, Princess Anne and grandsons will follow the casket in procession. It's an image sure to evoke memories of Princess Diana's funeral when Philip supported Princes William and Harry through their grief. But the brothers will not walk together. Between them, a cousin, Peter Phillips. The Queen will sit alone in St George's Chapel. The 30 in attendance, including Her Majesty, will wear masks. Unusually, all royals will be in civilian dress, perhaps to include Prince Harry, who stepped down from royal duties and was stripped of his military titles. But the ceremony and music will celebrate Philip's deep devotion to the military, Queen and country.
And joining us now is ABC News royal contributor Victoria Morphy. Victoria, thanks for joining us.
Hi there.
Well, we know that because of the pandemic, there are strict limits on the number of people who can attend the funeral. And the royal family is very much adhering to those rules, which means only 30 mourners will be attending the funeral. And where will they be seated?
That's right. I mean, the royal family have been, of course, really keen to stick to the COVID guidelines that everyone else is currently being asked to follow. So we've been told the Queen has had some really difficult decisions to make. She's had to do the final sign-off on all of this, and they have chosen 30 family members. So there's only one non-family member in attendance, Prince Philip's very close friend, the Countess Mountbatten of Burma. Everyone else is in the family, close family members, immediate family, and some of their spouses. And significantly as well, space has been made for 3 of Prince Philip's relatives to reflect the German side of his family. His 4 sisters married into the German aristocracy, and clearly that was something that was very important to him, so they are being represented at the funeral in just this small number of people. And we're going to see social distancing in place, so we're going to see people sitting, unless they are in the same household, 2 meters apart inside the chapel, and of course wearing face masks as well.
That's interesting, because I had read that they had not been, the German side of the family had not been present at his wedding so many years ago. We also know that there's going to be a ceremonial procession behind Prince Philip's casket on the route to the chapel for the service, as well as a short walk back afterwards. Now, Prince William and Prince Harry are notably not near each other in any of these plans. Is that surprising to you?
Well, I think it's very interesting, and it was very apparent to me when they made that known that that was going to attract a lot of attention, because obviously we know about the huge disagreements that there have been, and there was a lot of anticipation that these brothers would be walking side by side. But when they announced the plan, actually there is one lineup of 3, and their cousin Peter Phillips is going in between them. Now, you can look at it and say it makes sense. There had to be a lineup of 3 somewhere, and there's 3 grandsons walking, so it makes sense for them to go together. But when they go into the chapel and they go into 2s, Harry and William are not walking side by side then. There's a way to explain it, but it's really hard not to read into it as a sign that this rift, is very significant, and we're going to see them very separate on the day, another example of the significant disputes that we know have existed.
Absolutely serves as metaphor in a way. Just a few hours ago, too, Buckingham Palace released the order of actual funeral service. On paper, it seems rather short. What can you tell us about the service, and why is it being done this way?
Yeah, so it's actually going to be, we were told, around 50 minutes, and they have released the order. It's a very straightforward service, I would say. There's no eulogies. It's a very religious service. Apparently, Philip's faith was very important to him. It's the people speaking are the Archbishop of Canterbury and the Dean of Windsor. We've got this choir of 4 people who are going to be singing, but no one in the congregation can sing, because that's obviously in line with COVID rules. So it's a very kind of straightforward service, but there are a couple of personal touches. One of them is that he has asked for the Royal Marines, the bugles of the Royal Marines, to play something called Action induction stations at one point in the service, which was something that was played in the Royal Navy, which obviously he served in the Royal Navy, to ask people to make a call for battle. And so, that's really reflective of the years of service that he put into the Royal Navy.
And finally, Victoria, we know that Her Majesty the Queen and other senior royals have carried out some engagements this week during the official mourning period for Prince Philip. That might seem a bit unusual, it seems, especially for the Queen, who's just lost her husband.
I know, but I think it does, exemplify this attitude that they have, which is, as Prince William said, Philip would want them to get on with the job. They are in a 2-week mourning period, and we were told that they would carry out engagements that are appropriate to that. So we have seen them pull back from attending certain things, but they have appeared in public to look at the flowers, and the Queen has had an audience with a member of staff. So they are doing some things that are considered appropriate, and I guess it falls into that category of duty service first.
Yes, service after a lifetime of service. Thank you so much, Victoria Murphy, for your insights and for your time.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.